Jayden Higgins' 2024 season was absolutely elite, posting over 1,100 yards and 9 touchdowns for Iowa State as he truly broke out. Playing alongside other talented receivers, he established himself as the alpha, winning off the boundary and thriving in contested catch areas. However, could a lack of physicality bring down his game, or is this the next great X receiver in the NFL? If you enjoy this video, please consider liking and subscribing. But let's have a little bit of a deeper look into one of the most exciting alpha receivers in this draft class. The first thing you notice when you watch Jayden Higgins is that size. He has prototypical size for an alpha outside wide receiver in the NFL at 6'3", 215 pounds. But the other thing is that wingspan, which is over 6'7" and allows him to catch balls well outside his frame. This elite size helps him win on the boundary, as you'd expect it would, and makes him a fantastic threat in the red zone, as you can see from the 9 touchdowns in 2024 alone. But it's the wingspan which is truly impressive to me. He has fantastic ball tracking skills deep down the field, but the way in which he is able to just manipulate defenders to pluck the ball out of the air, go over the top of them, go around the side of them, it's not just that he has this wingspan, but that he actually knows how to use it. He is able to manipulate his huge long arms to be able to just pluck balls out of the air over the top of a defender. You'll sometimes see receivers with these kind of athletic traits that don't quite know how to use their own body, especially younger players who have not quite grown into their size yet. But he has the frame and knows how to use it to win in the NFL. The other thing that I would say is that he's a very natural hands catcher, but he really knows how to shoot them late at the boundary. So it's not just the abilities that he has, but it's the intelligence and the IQ to then make the most out of these to win at the next level. And these are going to be translatable skills when he reaches the NFL. I also think he's a smart route runner. Now, there are definitely some issues, which I'll come on to in a minute, that come to his gait, but he knows how to line up all over the field and how to manipulate spaces in zone coverage, where to sit, where to break, and I think he does show an ability to run a relatively varied route tree, which is going to be hugely impactful when he gets to the NFL if he's going to be able to be used all over the field and not just as a primary boundary receiver working deep down the field. And I think he can do this. I think this is someone you could use out of the slot as well as lining up on the outside. He's not going to be able to run a full route tree, but he's definitely going to be able to run more than some boundary receivers that you see enter the league. In terms of Higgins' physicality, his frame is absolutely elite, and the way that he knows how to use this is fantastic. But I do think he is lacking some top-end physicality traits when it comes to the athleticism in terms of long speed, and then his play strength and his ability to use physicality to win. I think he lacks a second gear. He is a long strider and you'll see him be able to get up to top speed relatively quickly, but I don't think he's someone that necessarily wins by pulling away from the defender. You see him in a lot of contested catch situations, which obviously he's great at, but you would prefer to see him winning over the top, which very rarely seemed to happen when I was watching him. Then those long strides are very helpful for some routes where you're just trying to go deep down the field, but I think he lacks some flexibility in his hips. I don't think he has the ability to kind of sink his hips to be able to stop and cut on a dime, which is something that you would want to be able to see if you're going to work the middle of the field and be able to move quickly, which then can sometimes limit him in terms of yards after the catch. I think when there's lots of defenders around him, he really struggles to know what to do because he just doesn't have that quick twitch to his frame, which is not a huge surprise for his size. The last thing, and this might be the biggest concern with Higgins, is that I think he can struggle to battle at the catch point, and he never really wins a contested catch with physicality. It's normally just going over the top of a player, so extending his arms and being able to be the first one to the ball. I don't think he really knows how to actually then win by being aggressive, kind of hands fighting with a corner off the line, or being physical at the catch point to absorb contact. So he could sometimes be dominated by corners who are a lot smaller than him. This is a small concern because obviously the big thing about him is the ability to win on the outside. So I think if he's going to come up against a much more physical corner like Patrick Surtain or Jalen Ramsey, that kind of mold, I think there's a chance that Higgins could actually really struggle. And if you can isolate his contested catch ability, that's the best part of his game. So that could be a concern when he gets to the NFL if he doesn't know how to actually win with the frame that he has and is kind of his biggest attribute. For playstyle comparison, I've gone with Kenny Golladay, which might be a throwback name to some of you who have only been playing fantasy a little bit more recently, but this was a guy who was an alpha, a great contested catcher, and a fantastic red zone threat. Basically, what I'm saying here is if you could pair him with relatively mid-career Matthew Stafford, I think Higgins would have a fantastic start to his career. I think he wins with the same kind of physicality at the catch point and with that big frame, but I think he's relatively one-dimensional, so could sometimes drop off if he isn't able to win in different areas of the field, or if he's being used by a quarterback or offensive coordinator who doesn't really play to his skill set. I think he'll go in the second round. He's currently projected to be about the wide receiver 6 or 7 in this class, and I think someone will fall in love with that physicality, with that elite size, and with that frame, and think they can use him to win on the boundary. In terms of his projected draft value, I currently have him going at around the 205 to maybe towards the back of the second round. The running backs in this class are going to push some of the wide receivers further down. Now, if you're someone that falls in love with physicality and you love outside boundary X alpha wide receivers, you might love Jayden Higgins. For me, I have him a little bit lower just because I'm not 100% confident that I believe in his ability to consistently win at the catch point just because of that physicality issue that I did spot on film. But I'm not an expert. If you see more from him, there's every chance he could go towards the top of the second round. Do you love Higgins? Do you love that kind of alpha wide receiver, or do you prefer a shiftier, smaller wide receiver like me? Let me know down below in the comments. If you've liked this content, please consider subscribing to the channel and have a look at all of the other rookie profiles on my YouTube channel. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.